Before you die, must know these 7 Stoic lessons that will change your life forever. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. Before you die, there are 7 Stoic lessons you must understand. Lessons that will forever change how you see life. This isn't another empty motivational speech. This is the raw truth, straight from the minds of ancient philosophers who knew what it meant to live with purpose. Let's face it, much of what you believe about life, success, and happiness is deeply flawed. You've been conditioned to chase material wealth, status, and pleasure, but these things won't bring you lasting fulfillment. It's time to strip away the illusions and face reality. From the wisdom of Stoicism, we'll explore what really matters in life, principles that will challenge you, wake you up, and guide you towards true meaning and inner peace. You won't like everything you hear, but if you're ready for the truth, these lessons are for you. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. Let's dive in and uncover the wisdom that will shape your life before it's too late. 1. A comfort zone is your coffin. Your comfort zone may feel like a safe harbor, a place where things are predictable and easy, but in reality, it's where your spirit goes to stagnate. It's like a coffin with the lid slowly closing on your potential, suffocating your growth without you even realizing it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And nothing stands more in the way than the comfort we so desperately cling to." How many times have you found yourself sticking to that job that doesn't light a fire in your heart just because it feels secure? Or remaining in a relationship that drains you, but is too familiar to leave? These are not just isolated decisions, they are part of a larger pattern of living in fear, driven by the seduction of comfort. Comfort is like the song of the sirens in ancient Greek mythology, luring you with promises of ease, relaxation, and safety. But in return, it asks for your ambitions, your dreams, and ultimately, your future. By staying comfortable, you are unknowingly robbing yourself of the very experiences that make life worth living. The challenges that force you to grow, the setbacks that teach resilience, and the risks that unveil your true self. All of these await you beyond the walls of comfort. Think about the people you admire the most, whether they are athletes, innovators, or explorers. Do you think they arrived at their success by staying within their comfort zones? Of course not. They faced fear head-on, embraced failure, and pushed themselves into discomfort repeatedly. They knew that the true path to greatness lies in leaving the safety of the shore and venturing into the unpredictable waters of life. When we avoid discomfort, we avoid life itself. To fully engage in the journey of living, you must confront the uncomfortable truth. Comfort is a lie. It may feel good in the short term, but over time, it slowly poisons your ambition and locks you in a prison of mediocrity. The only thing truly within our control is how we respond to the challenges we face. By refusing to step out of your comfort zone, you're relinquishing that power and becoming a passive bystander in your own life. It starts with small steps, things that push you ever so slightly beyond your normal range of comfort. Take that cold shower, not because it's about the cold, but because it's about teaching yourself that discomfort is temporary and survivable. Speak up in that meeting not because it's easy, but because your voice matters. Reach out to the person you've been admiring from a distance, not because you know it will go well, but because taking the risk is where growth happens. Travel alone not to escape, but to find out what you're truly capable of when no one is holding your hand. These small actions, when accumulated, form the foundation of a life lived boldly. The comfort zone is a slow death. It's where you bury your dreams before they even have the chance to take root. If you want a life of meaning, a life that you can look back on with pride, you must be willing to walk away from that comfort. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when you are challenged, pushed to your limits, and sometimes when you fail. But as the Stoics remind us, Failure is not the end. It's merely feedback, a stepping stone on the path to becoming stronger and wiser. In modern life, it's easy to settle. The world around you is constantly offering ways to make things easier, faster, and more comfortable. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us to waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That means living with intention, making conscious choices to step into discomfort rather than shy away from it. When you find yourself hesitating because something feels hard, that's precisely the moment to act. It's in those moments of challenge that life reveals its true richness. If you've spent too long stuck in the same routines, numbing yourself to the discomfort of change, it's time to wake up. Comfort is not your friend. It's the slow killer of your potential, and it's never too late to start. Whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, this is the perfect time to embrace the mindset of the Stoics. Age is not an excuse to settle into complacency. It's a reason to push even harder, to use the wisdom you've gained over the years as fuel to propel you into new challenges. Remember, Marcus Aurelius also said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." The fear of stepping outside your comfort zone pales in comparison to the regret of never having truly lived. Each day presents an opportunity to face your fears, to reject comfort, and to embrace the discomfort that leads to growth. The greatest regret in life is not in the failures, but in the chances we didn't take, the risks we avoided, and the life we could have lived if only we had the courage to step outside the walls of safety. So, take control. Recognize that the limits of your comfort zone are not the limits of your potential. Your life is a canvas, and the boldest strokes come from taking risks, embracing challenges and pushing beyond what feels easy. Don't let comfort be the prison that holds you back. Embrace discomfort. Seek out the experiences that make you uneasy. And in doing so, you will unlock the fullest expression of who you are meant to be. Because as the Stoics teach us, real growth begins where comfort ends. 2. The root of suffering is expectation. Expectations. We all have them. Whether it's expecting a friend to always be there when we need them, believing that our careers will progress without setbacks, or hoping that relationships will complete us in ways we haven't figured out ourselves, expectations seem to be an unavoidable part of life. But let me tell you this, expectations are the root of suffering. Think about the last time you were truly disappointed. Maybe you were let down by someone you trusted, or a job promotion you worked so hard for didn't materialize. At the core of that disappointment was an expectation, an idea in your mind that something or someone should have behaved a certain way. When reality failed to meet that expectation, the gap between what you imagined and what actually happened was filled with frustration, pain, and anger. This gap is where suffering resides. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the crux of it. The more we try to control the outside world by setting high expectations, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment, because we are clinging to an illusion that we can shape the uncontrollable. I remember a time in my own life when I was fixated on a specific career path. Like many of you, I had ambitions. I worked long hours, made sacrifices, and was convinced that my hard work would be rewarded in a very specific way. I expected promotions, accolades, and recognition, but life had a different plan. Years passed and the promotions didn't come. Opportunities that I believed were rightfully mine slipped through my fingers. I was left with nothing but resentment and bitterness. It felt like life had cheated me. But here's the lesson I want you to learn. Expectations were not just setting me up for failure. They were the reason I was suffering. I was measuring my success against a fantasy, not the reality of life's unpredictability. Once I let go of that, I began to find peace. I started appreciating the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. The weight of unmet expectations lifted, and suddenly, the small victories, ones I would have dismissed before, became moments of joy. This principle applies everywhere. Take relationships, for instance. How often do we expect our partners, our friends, or our families to behave in ways that align with our vision of how they should be? But people are unpredictable. They make mistakes. They have their own lives, emotions, and struggles. When we hold rigid expectations of how they should act, we set ourselves up for endless disappointment. We trap ourselves in a cycle where we expect too much and receive too little in return. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus advised, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." By adjusting our expectations, we allow ourselves to be more forgiving, more accepting, and more open to the true nature of others. But let's ground this in modern life. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through social media, comparing your life to others? We expect our lives to be as perfect as the highlight reels we see online. We expect our careers to skyrocket, like that entrepreneur who made millions in their 20s, or our family dynamics to resemble those perfect photos of happy couples and children. The truth is, the images we hold up as examples of what life should be are just that, images, not reality. By constantly measuring ourselves against these artificial standards, we deepen our suffering. We are chasing illusions, setting expectations based on unrealistic comparisons. The key is not to eliminate expectations entirely. That's not realistic. It's about shifting how you interact with them. Rather than expecting everything to go your way, approach life with openness and curiosity. Lower your expectations in a healthy way, not by settling for less, but by removing the rigid demands you place on outcomes. This doesn't mean you stop setting goals or striving for better. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart." It's about embracing life as it comes, not as you wish it would be. The less you expect from external events, the more you can focus on what truly matters: your inner strength, your resilience, and your ability to find peace regardless of external outcomes. One of the most profound lessons I've learned is that by letting go of the weight of expectations, I was free to experience life in a more meaningful way. Instead of being frustrated that something didn't go exactly as planned, I learned to see the value in every situation, good or bad. A failed project wasn't the end. It was an opportunity to learn. A friend's mistake wasn't betrayal. It was a reminder that we are all imperfect. Even in the face of personal challenges, lowering my expectations allowed me to appreciate the lessons hidden within the struggles. And that's what I want to leave you with. Understanding that the root of suffering is not life's difficulties, but the expectations we place on how life should be. 3. Sacrifice is necessary. Let's talk about sacrifice, a concept that seems to have faded in a world constantly offering comfort and convenience. Today, everything around us pushes the idea that we can have it all without giving up anything. But deep down, you know that's not true. The most valuable things in life require sacrifice. Whether it's achieving a career milestone, building strong relationships, or even maintaining good health, you must be willing to give up something in order to gain something greater. As the Stoics believed, true progress comes from embracing the hardships that stand between you and your goals. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest voices, reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that sacrifice and challenges are not obstacles, but stepping stones to achieving greatness. Think back to any meaningful accomplishment in your life. Did it come without a price? Maybe it was a promotion at work, but to get there, you sacrificed your time, energy, and sometimes even moments with your loved ones. Or perhaps it was your physical health, transforming your body through exercise and discipline, which meant sacrificing late nights, comfort foods, and those moments when you wanted to quit. These were not easy choices, but they were necessary. Sacrifice is the currency of achievement, the price we pay for something better in the future. It's the ability to let go of immediate pleasure for the sake of long-term fulfillment. Without sacrifice, you're left standing still, hoping that success will come to you without any real effort. But as we all know, hope without action is just a wish. In today's modern world, it's easier than ever to avoid sacrifice. Instant gratification is just a click away. We're constantly offered shortcuts and quick fixes that promise to deliver success without hard work. But ask yourself, has anything truly worthwhile in your life ever come without struggle or sacrifice? Consider a modern example: entrepreneurs who build successful businesses from the ground up. It looks glamorous from the outside, the freedom, the wealth. But what you don't see are the sacrifices they made along the way. They gave up financial security, stable paychecks, and often their personal time to build something meaningful. They risked failure, invested countless hours, and endured sleepless nights, all to achieve their vision. The success we admire is built on a foundation of sacrifice. Without that, there would be no lasting reward. We resist sacrifice. It's because at its core, sacrifice is uncomfortable. It demands that we give up things that feel good in the moment: our time, energy, and even our peace of mind. But this discomfort is temporary. It's a trade-off for something much greater in the long run. As the Stoics often taught, life's challenges and sacrifices are not to be avoided, but embraced. They believed that true freedom comes not from escaping discomfort, but from mastering it. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. It requires you to stand firm and ready for an unexpected attack." Sacrifice is that unexpected attack. It challenges you, pushes you to your limits, and forces you to grow. Every sacrifice is an investment in your future, whether it's the time you spend honing your skills, the comfort you give up to stay disciplined, or the personal resources you allocate to your dreams. If you want a meaningful life, one that you can look back on with pride, then sacrifice is not optional, it's essential. And here's the beautiful part. Once you've made the sacrifices, the rewards feel so much greater. The achievements you've worked for, the relationships you've nurtured, the person you've become, all of that is made sweeter by the sacrifices you've endured. Because sacrifice isn't just about loss. It's about creating space for something greater, something that aligns with your highest values and dreams. To start by understanding that every small sacrifice is a step toward a bigger goal. If your goal is to improve your health, for example, you may need to sacrifice your comfort by waking up earlier for workouts or choosing healthier meals over indulgent ones. If you're striving for career success, you may need to sacrifice leisure time to refine your skills or build meaningful connections. And if your aim is personal growth, you may need to sacrifice your ego, letting go of old habits, admitting your mistakes, and facing uncomfortable truths about yourself. The Stoics believed that discipline and self-mastery were essential to living a virtuous life. Each sacrifice you make strengthens that discipline and moves you closer to your potential. 4. Don't chase love. Let's talk about love, a topic that society often pushes us to pursue with relentless energy, as if it's something we must chase down, capture, and conquer. We are frequently told that love is something you have to find, that it's out there waiting for you if you just search hard enough. But here's the truth, one that the wisdom of Stoicism and thinkers like Marcus Aurelius would have us realize. Stop chasing love. Love is not something that you can force or grasp through sheer willpower. It will come when you're busy living your best life, focusing on the things within your control, and embracing who you truly are. The times in your life when you've chased love, maybe you pursued it because you felt lonely, or because society told you that you needed someone else to feel complete. How often did it end in frustration, disappointment, or even heartbreak? When we are so focused on finding love, we tend to compromise our own values, settle for less than we deserve, and in the process, we lose sight of who we truly are. This is the paradox of love. The harder we chase it, the more elusive it becomes. The more desperately we look for it, the further it seems to slip away. It's not unlike holding sand in your hand. The tighter you grasp, the more it escapes through your fingers. Love, much like many of the virtues Stoicism teaches us to focus on, is not something that can be hunted down or attained by effort alone. It's not a prize at the end of a long race. Instead, love is a journey, one that often comes to you when you least expect it, when you are fully engaged in living your life, pursuing your passions, and aligning yourself with your values. I've experienced this truth myself. There was a time when I thought love was something I needed to find in order to feel whole. I went on countless dates, changing myself to fit what I thought others wanted, trying to mold myself into someone who could be loved. But instead of feeling fulfilled, I ended up feeling more empty than before. This relentless pursuit of love led me nowhere, because I was looking for it outside of myself rather than fostering it from within. It wasn't until I stopped chasing love and started focusing on my own growth, my own happiness, that I found a meaningful relationship. This echoes the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who reminds us that very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. When we turn our attention inward, focusing on developing ourselves and our own sense of contentment, we radiate a kind of confidence and joy that naturally attracts love. It's like tending to a garden. You don't chase the flowers to bloom. You nurture the soil, give them sunlight, and patiently allow them to grow. Similarly, love will come when you have created the right conditions within yourself. Now, stop chasing love and start attracting it. The first step is to truly love yourself. Take the time to invest in your personal growth, pursue your interests and hobbies with passion, and surround yourself with people who uplift you. Build a life that you love, a life that brings you genuine joy and satisfaction. When you are content with who you are, that energy becomes magnetic. As Epictetus, another great Stoic, said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." When you know who you are and what you stand for, love will come naturally without the need for chasing. In modern life, we are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we need someone else to complete us, that we aren't enough on our own. Social media and movies often romanticize love as the ultimate goal, the final missing piece in the puzzle of happiness. When you stop making love a checkbox to be ticked, you open yourself up to deeper connections with others, relationships that are based on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine interest, rather than desperation or neediness. Focus on building meaningful connections rather than pursuing romantic relationships for the sake of filling a void. Engage with people who share your interests, who challenge and support you, and let those relationships evolve naturally. Love, when it's real, is not about finding someone to complete you. It's about two whole individuals coming together to complement each other's lives. When you stop chasing love and start living with passion and purpose, you'll find that love often finds its way to you, and when it does, it will be a beautiful addition to a life that's already full of meaning. The more you chase love, the more it will elude you. Love is not a goal to be achieved. It's a gift to be received, often when you are least expecting it. As Marcus Aurelius wisely pointed out, dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them. Focus on the beauty around you and the richness of your own life, and you will naturally attract the kind of love that is deep, meaningful, and lasting. By building a life full of purpose and joy, you stop needing love to validate your existence, and instead, you welcome it as a beautiful complement to an already fulfilling journey. Live with passion, live with purpose, and let love find you when the time is right. Thank you for being part of this incredible journey with us today. If you're new to the community, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below with, "I'm starting out." And for those who've been walking this Stoic path with us for a while, let us know by saying, "I'm a Stoic." Your presence here helps build this space of learning and growth, and your words keep us going. Let's keep pushing forward together. 5. The majority is often wrong. Let's talk about following the crowd. It's something we all feel pressured to do at times, isn't it? Society seems to have a strong pull, constantly encouraging us to align our beliefs and actions with the majority, as if there's safety and certainty in numbers. But here's a truth that's hard to swallow. The majority is often wrong. Just because most people believe something doesn't make it true. In fact, history has proven time and time again that the masses can be terribly misled. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, said, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." He understood that true wisdom and progress come from questioning the status quo, from thinking independently and not blindly following the crowd. Let's look at history for a moment. There was a time when the majority believed the Earth was the center of the universe, a belief so strong that those who questioned it were ridiculed or worse. Later, people believed the Earth was flat, another widely accepted falsehood. And it didn't stop there. The majority supported witch hunts, slavery, and countless other injustices that we now recognize as deeply wrong. So why, even with these historical lessons, do we so easily fall into the trap of following the crowd? The answer is often fear. Fear of being different, fear of being ostracized, or fear of being ridiculed. It's uncomfortable to stand alone, to voice an opinion that goes against what most people believe. But true wisdom doesn't come from comfort. It comes from courage, from daring to think differently, and from having the strength to question popular beliefs. I learned this lesson early in life. Growing up, I often found myself questioning the things that everyone else seemed to accept without hesitation. Whether it was societal norms or common beliefs, I couldn't help but ask, is this really true? Does this make sense? At first, it wasn't easy. I was often labeled as difficult or rebellious, which can feel isolating. But the more I questioned, the more I discovered that much of what people believed were convenient lies, misconceptions, or simply the result of following the majority without thinking for themselves. It wasn't until I embraced this questioning nature that I began to lead a more authentic and meaningful life. I realized that the path to true understanding requires a willingness to step away from the crowd, even if it means standing alone. Now we apply this to our everyday lives. Start by educating yourself. Don't just accept things at face value because they're popular opinions or because everyone else believes it. Read widely, explore different perspectives, and most importantly, think critically. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." With that in mind, when you encounter a popular belief, ask yourself, does this make sense to me? What's the evidence supporting this idea? And perhaps most importantly, who stands to benefit from this belief being widely accepted? Often, popular opinions exist because they serve the interests of a select few, not because they are rooted in truth. In modern life, we're constantly bombarded with information, from social media to the news to the conversations we overhear at work or with friends. It's easy to get swept up in the tide of popular opinion, especially when it seems like everyone agrees. But just because a belief is widespread doesn't mean it's right. Next, think about how quickly trends spread online, how a single tweet or post can ignite a movement or belief that, upon closer inspection, doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Are we blindly accepting these ideas, or are we taking the time to think critically about them? The challenge is to slow down, to think deeply, and to make sure that we are not simply conforming to the majority without truly understanding why. One of the best ways to develop this critical thinking is to surround yourself with people who challenge you. Engage in conversations with those who have different perspectives and ideas. It's through these discussions that you can refine your own understanding and grow. The Stoics believed in the power of dialogue and learning from others, but they also emphasized the importance of forming your own conclusions. You must be willing to stand firm in your beliefs even when they go against the grain. As Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means accepting that sometimes, when you question the majority, you might be misunderstood or even criticized, but in doing so, You are staying true to yourself and the pursuit of truth. But being open to new ideas also means being willing to change your mind when presented with new evidence. That's not a weakness, it's a sign of mad strength. Holding on to an opinion just because it's what the majority believes or because it's comfortable can lead to stagnation. Instead, be open to growth. And don't be afraid to shift your perspective when it's warranted. In doing so, you align yourself not with the majority, but with truth and wisdom. At the end of the day, the majority is often wrong, but you don't have to be. Don't be afraid to stand alone, to be the voice of reason in a sea of conformity. Following the crowd might feel safe in the moment, but it can lead you astray from your own path and from the truth. The Stoics remind us that life is not about pleasing others or gaining the approval of the masses. It's about living according to reason, virtue, and wisdom. 6. Patience is power. Let's talk about patience, a virtue that's become increasingly rare in a world obsessed with speed and instant results. Everywhere we turn, we're bombarded with messages that faster is better, that success, happiness, and fulfillment should come quickly and effortlessly. But here's the truth. Real power lies not in speed, but in patience. The ability to wait, to persist through difficulty, and to trust the process is what ultimately leads to the most meaningful achievements in life. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, knew this well when he said, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by and another takes its place." Patience in this sense is the wisdom to understand that life's greatest rewards are often the result of time and effort, not immediate gratification. Nothing worth admiring happens overnight. A mighty oak tree doesn't sprout to its full height in a single season. Mountains are not formed in a day, nor are rivers capable of carving valleys in a week. Nature's grandest creations are the result of gradual, patient processes. And yet, when it comes to our own lives, we often lose sight of this lesson. We want things now, success in our careers, happiness in our relationships, clarity in our purpose. We want to achieve our goals without delay, and when we don't, frustration sets in. But the truth is, just like in nature, the most beautiful things in life take time to develop. The more we rush, the more likely we are to stumble along the way. I remember a time when I, too, was caught in the rush for quick results. I wanted immediate success in my career. I wanted instant happiness in my personal life. And I expected clarity about my life's direction as soon as possible. But every time I pushed for fast results, I found myself hitting roadblocks. The more I hurried, the less progress I made. It wasn't until I embraced patience that I started to see real growth. I learned to trust the process, to understand that the journey itself is valuable, not just the destination. By practicing patience, I allowed space for real, sustainable progress to unfold. So how can we cultivate patience in our daily lives? It begins with setting realistic expectations for ourselves. We have to understand that meaningful achievements take time, and that there are no shortcuts to real success. Practice mindfulness. Stay focused on the present moment, instead of constantly fixating on future outcomes. When we get too wrapped up in where we want to be, we forget to appreciate where we are right now. This shift in mindset, from impatience to presence, is key to developing resilience in the face of challenges. And when those challenges arise, remember that perseverance is what separates those who succeed from those who give up too soon. As the Stoics taught, true strength comes from staying the course even when progress seems slow or difficult. But here's something equally important. Patience isn't just about waiting for external circumstances to change. It's also about being patient with ourselves. Too often, we push ourselves to grow faster, heal quicker, or achieve more than is realistic. Personal growth, just like any other meaningful achievement, takes time. Be kind to yourself. Understand that setbacks and failures are not signs of weakness, but necessary parts of the journey. Celebrate the small victories along the way, those incremental steps that might seem insignificant in the moment, but add up over time. This is where patience becomes your quiet superpower, allowing you to keep moving forward when others might give up. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly encouraged to seek instant results, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal goals. But patience is what sets apart those who merely achieve temporary success from those who create lasting impact. It's the inner peace of knowing that you're on the right path, even if you're not there yet. Marcus Aurelius, in his reflections, often reminded himself to be patient with both the world and with himself. He understood that growth, whether in wisdom, strength, or character, comes not from rushing, but from persistence over time. In a practical sense, patience gives you the power to approach life's challenges with grace. When others panic or lose focus because things aren't happening fast enough, your patience will allow you to remain calm and purposeful. It's not about passively waiting for things to happen, but about actively persisting, knowing that you are working towards something greater. This is why patience is more than just waiting. It's persistence with purpose. By practicing patience, you are not giving up control. Rather, you are gaining control over your reactions, your emotions, and your life. So let me ask you, where in your life are you rushing when you could be practicing patience? Is it in your work, where you're striving for a promotion that hasn't materialized yet? Or in your personal life, where you're seeking happiness that seems just out of reach? Wherever it is, take a step back and recognize that patience will not only help you reach your goals, but will also make the journey more rewarding. By slowing down and trusting the process, you're not losing time. You're building the foundation for something more profound. At the end of the day, patience is power. It's the power to stay focused, to persist through difficulties, and to trust that everything unfolds in its own time. In a world where instant gratification has become the norm, patience sets you apart. It allows you to face life's challenges with a sense of peace and wisdom, knowing that time is on your side. So, embrace patience, and in doing so, unlock your true potential. 7. Friends are not forever. Now let's confront a truth that's not always easy to accept. Friends are not forever. We often hear that true friendship lasts a lifetime, that friends will always be there no matter what. But reality has a different story to tell. Friendships, like all things in life, are not permanent. People change, their circumstances shift, and that's a natural part of our journey. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." This insight reminds us that life is in constant motion, and friendships, like other aspects of life, will naturally evolve or sometimes fade away. And that's okay. In your own experiences, how many childhood friends are still central to your life? What about those from high school or college? The truth is, as we grow and evolve, our relationships tend to shift as well. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's a reflection of the changes we undergo as individuals. Sometimes we hold on to an idealized version of friendship, believing that true friends will remain as close as they once were. But life has a way of pulling people in different directions. You grow, your interests change, your priorities shift, and often, so do those of your friends. It doesn't mean those connections weren't meaningful or valuable at the time. They were. But holding on to the idea that they must last forever is what leads to unnecessary heartache. I remember my best friend from college. We were inseparable, talking endlessly about our dreams, our fears, and our plans for the future. At that time, I couldn't imagine my life without him in it. But as we stepped into adulthood, our paths began to diverge. He moved to another city, got married, and we both found ourselves absorbed in different lives. At first, I felt the sharp sting of loss. It was as though a part of me had disappeared along with that friendship. But over time, I came to realize that the friendship had fulfilled its purpose. It was perfect for that moment in my life, and its end didn't diminish the bond we once shared. In fact, it added richness to my story. Sometimes we need to recognize that relationships serve us for a season, not a lifetime. and that doesn't make them any less significant. How, then, do we cope with the reality that friendships aren't forever? The first step is to appreciate the friendships we have in the present, cherish the time, the shared laughter, and the memories, without the pressure of expecting those moments to last forever. Stoicism teaches us to live fully in the present, appreciating what we have without becoming attached to the outcome. When a friendship naturally fades or comes to an end, it's important not to view it as a failure. Instead, see it as a chapter in your life that has closed, making room for new connections and experiences. Life is a constant process of growth and transformation, and our relationships reflect that. When we accept the impermanence of friendships, we allow ourselves to embrace the changes with grace and avoid unnecessary suffering. Another important lesson is to focus on quality over quantity in your relationships. It's better to nurture a few deep, meaningful friendships than to spread yourself thin, trying to maintain countless connections. Many of us feel pressure to hold on to every friend we've ever made, fearing that letting go will leave us lonely. But in reality, a handful of genuine, supportive relationships are more fulfilling than clinging to relationships that have run their course. As the Stoics would advise, it's not the number of friends you have, but the depth of the connection that truly matters. And perhaps the most crucial lesson of all is learning to be your own best friend. No relationship will ever be as permanent as the one you have with yourself. Cultivate a strong, nurturing relationship with yourself, because you will be the one person who walks with you through every stage of life. As Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This means that true freedom and happiness come from within. Relying on others for your sense of worth or fulfillment can lead to disappointment, but when you have a strong relationship with yourself, you find resilience no matter how your external relationships change. In today's world, we're often bombarded with the idea that friendships are supposed to last forever, that losing touch with a friend is somehow a failure. But the reality is, friendships are like the ebb and flow of the ocean. People come into our lives, they share their time and energy, and sometimes they leave. It's all part of life's natural rhythm. And instead of clinging to the past, we should honor the beauty of each friendship for what it was, not what we think it should continue to be. Embrace the friendships you have now without expecting them to last forever. When they fade, don't see it as a loss, but as a natural progression of life. Cherish the good times, learn from the challenges, and be open to new connections as they come. And more importantly, focus on being a friend to yourself. Life is a series of comings and goings, and each person who enters your life plays a role in your journey. Friendships are temporary, but they are valuable nonetheless. They teach us, they grow with us, and sometimes they leave. Accepting this truth allows you to experience life with less attachment and more openness to the beauty of each moment. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, loss is nothing but change, and change is nature's delight. Embrace the flow of friendships, knowing that they are an essential part of your ever-evolving life. 8. Sacrifice is the key to success. Let's talk about sacrifice, a concept that may seem outdated in a world where comfort and convenience reign supreme. Everywhere we turn, we're encouraged to prioritize ease, to find shortcuts, and to seek immediate gratification. But the hard truth is that nothing truly worth having comes without sacrifice. If you want to achieve something meaningful, whether in your career, personal life, or even your inner growth, you have to give up something valuable along the way. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, knew this well when he wrote, "You must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible, and no one can keep you from this." Sacrifice is that daily choice, letting go of something lesser to make room for something greater. It's not about losing, it's about making room for growth. Think back to the most significant accomplishments in your life. Did they come easily, Or did they require hard choices, perhaps even painful sacrifices? Whether it was dedicating long hours to a career goal, staying disciplined in building a healthy lifestyle, or choosing to focus on personal development over fleeting pleasures, your most meaningful successes likely came with some cost. That's because sacrifice is the price of greatness. It's the currency we use to buy our dreams. Without it, our ambitions remain wishful thinking, never grounded in action. When you choose to sacrifice, you aren't just giving something up. You are making space for something far more valuable to enter your life. I can think of a time in my own life when sacrifice was the key to unlocking my true potential. I had a stable job, a comfortable lifestyle, and all the outward signs of success. But deep down, I wasn't fulfilled. I knew I had a passion for writing that I wasn't pursuing. Making the decision to leave that job, one that provided financial security and social status, was one of the hardest choices I've ever had to make. It meant stepping into an uncertain future where nothing was guaranteed. I sacrificed comfort, predictability, and even the validation that comes from others when they see you succeeding in a conventional sense. But that sacrifice opened the door to a life of greater meaning and purpose. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. This principle applies to every aspect of life. If you want to achieve something meaningful, you must first understand what you truly value and what you are willing to sacrifice to achieve it. For instance, if you are striving to build a successful career, you may need to sacrifice some of your leisure time, your weekends, or even certain relationships that no longer align with your path. If your goal is to be healthy, you may need to give up certain indulgent foods, late nights, or even the comfort of a lazy weekend. Sacrifice is not about deprivation. It's about prioritization. It's about choosing to invest your time, energy, and resources into what truly matters to you. The key is to remember that every sacrifice you make is a step closer to your ultimate goal. It's easy to get discouraged when you're in the midst of it, when it feels like you're giving up something you enjoy or stepping away from comfort. But know that sacrifice is not about loss. It's about trading temporary satisfaction for something more enduring and valuable. As the Stoics taught, the ability to delay gratification, to look beyond the immediate and focus on the long term, is one of the greatest strengths we can cultivate. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "No great thing is created suddenly any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." Patience and sacrifice go hand in hand, and together they lead to lasting success. In modern life, we often want everything fast, instant results, immediate rewards. But the reality is that the greatest achievements, the ones that bring deep fulfillment, are built slowly, brick by brick, sacrifice by sacrifice. Whether it's the time you devote to honing your skills, the energy you pour into relationships, or the resources you invest in personal growth, the pain of sacrifice is temporary, but its rewards are long-lasting. Sacrifice is not something to fear or avoid, it's something to embrace as part of the P. Grateful for your time and participation in today's video. Whether you're just discovering Stoicism or have been a dedicated follower, we want to hear from you. New to the channel? Comment, "New here." If you're already familiar with Stoic principles, share Stoic at heart. Every comment helps grow our community, and your engagement is what fuels our content. Let's keep learning and growing together, side by side. **. 9. Live in the present. One of the most vital lessons that Stoicism teaches us is the importance of living in the present moment. In today's fast-paced world, it's far too easy to get lost in our thoughts about the past, regretting mistakes, holding on to grudges, or to become consumed with anxiety about the future. What's going to happen? What could go wrong? But here's the hard truth. Neither the past nor the future is within your control. What you do have power over, however, is this very moment right now. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously wrote, "You cannot live in the past or the future, you can only live now. And when we dwell too much on what's already happened or fear what's yet to come, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to fully experience the life that's unfolding in front of us. Think for a moment about your own daily routine. How often do you find yourself sitting down only to realize that your mind is racing with worries about tomorrow's responsibilities, or replaying regrets over decisions made in the past? Those thoughts might feel inevitable, but they are quietly stealing away your peace and your freedom. Stoicism teaches that worrying about things beyond our control is not only pointless, but it also distracts us from what's truly important: the present. We should focus on our actions and emotions here and now because that is where our real strength lies. The Stoic mindset simplifies life into something we can control: our responses. Everything else? Let it go. By focusing on the present moment, you're empowered to make choices based on what you can influence, and you free yourself from the anxiety that comes with trying to control the uncontrollable. I can relate to this all too well from personal experience. There were countless times when I found myself caught in a loop of regret over past mistakes or consumed with anxiety about future outcomes. I would replay old conversations in my mind, second-guessing decisions, and wondering how things could have been different if I'd just acted another way. Or I'd project into the future, stressing about events that hadn't even happened yet. It was exhausting. But everything changed when I started to apply the Stoic principle of living in the present moment. I began to understand that the only thing I can truly influence is what's happening now. And the result? A new sense of peace. I realized that every single moment holds value, but only if I'm fully present to experience it. The future will take care of itself in due time, and it doesn't need to be solved right now. Now, how do we train ourselves to live in the present, especially when it feels so natural to worry about what's next or dwell on what's already gone? The first step is simply awareness. Pay attention to where your mind is. If you catch yourself drifting into thoughts of the past or future, gently guide yourself back to the present. One effective way to do this is through mindful breathing. Focus on the sensation of each breath and become aware of how your body feels in this exact moment. Notice your surroundings, the sounds, the air temperature, the feeling of the ground beneath your feet. This simple practice of mindfulness helps to ground you in the here and now, freeing you from the burden of unnecessary worry. Another powerful tool for staying in the present is practicing gratitude. Instead of constantly striving for something far in the future, take a moment to appreciate what you already have. Gratitude allows you to pause and acknowledge the gifts that are right in front of you, like a peaceful morning, your health, or simply the fact that you're alive and able to experience life. Stoicism encourages us to cherish the present moment because everything can change at any time. The only certainty we have is right now. Gratitude is a way of anchoring ourselves in the present. How would your life change if you stopped worrying so much about the future and let go of the past? How much lighter would you feel if the weight of regret and anticipation lifted off your shoulders? Take a second to imagine what that sense of freedom might be like. Epictetus, another key Stoic philosopher, taught, "We cannot control external events. The only thing we can control is how we react to them." This simple truth holds the key to living a more peaceful life. By focusing on the present moment, you gain the power to respond to life's challenges thoughtfully, rather than being swept away by them. When you think about it, living in the present isn't about ignoring the future or denying the past. It's about choosing to direct your energy toward what you can control right now. Imagine you're standing in a river, with the current of time flowing around you. You can't stop the flow, nor can you go back upstream. All you can do is stay grounded where you are, dealing with what's in front of you at this very moment. This is where your power lies, and this is where life becomes most fulfilling. Live fully in the present. Don't let the chains of the past hold you back, and don't let the fear of the future rob you of your peace. The present moment is the only place where you have real influence, so focus on that. Engage fully with what's in front of you, and you'll find that life becomes richer, more meaningful, and more satisfying. Living in the present doesn't mean neglecting the future or pretending the past didn't happen. It means accepting that you can't change what's already done, and you can't predict what's going to happen next. All you can do is show up right now, fully, with everything you've got. To wrap this up, remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them. Life is happening here and now, and it's filled with beauty, but you have to be present to see it. The past is a memory, and the future is a mystery. But the present moment is a gift, and it's where you hold all your power. By choosing to live in the present, you unlock the ability to respond wisely to life's challenges, and you free yourself from the unnecessary stress of trying to control what's beyond your reach. So, breathe deeply, be here now, and watch as life unfolds with more clarity, purpose, and peace than you ever imagined possible. And that brings us to the end of today's exploration on Before You Die Must Know These 7 Stoic Lessons That Will Change Your Life Forever. These lessons serve as a powerful reminder that life, in all its complexity, is not meant to be easy or comfortable. It's a journey of growth, challenges, and transformation. As Stoics remind us, it's in those challenges that we truly discover who we are. Each of these lessons is not just knowledge to be learned, but wisdom to be lived. They push us to reflect deeply on our lives, to question our values, and to embrace the discomfort that leads to growth. When we stop resisting life's difficulties and start seeing them as opportunities to develop resilience, strength, and wisdom, we begin to live more authentically, with purpose and clarity. Think about what you've taken from today. How can these Stoic truths help you in your daily life? How can you start applying them right now to become more present, more resilient, and more focused on what truly matters? Life is unpredictable and ever-changing, but with these Stoic principles guiding us, we can navigate its uncertainties with a clearer mind and a stronger heart. Remember, these lessons are not meant to make life easier, but to give you the tools to face life's hardships with wisdom and courage. As we wrap up, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Which lesson resonated with you the most? How can you integrate it into your life starting today? Share your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your reflections and experiences. If you found this video valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you'll never miss any future content. Together, let's continue to grow, challenge ourselves, and live a life of purpose and meaning, guided by these timeless Stoic teachings. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.